So the international break, it's finally over. We're back to Premier League action this weekend. Man City playing Fulham, Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff at the Etihad Stadium. I will be there once again. You can expect a matchday vlog coming hopefully on Sunday, all being well. But today, the day before the game, can only mean one thing, and that is of course a match preview for the Fulham game. Let's get stuck into it, guys. So before we get into the main portion of the video, a couple of things I wanted to mention. Firstly, if you do enjoy the video and wanted to support the channel, there's a couple of ways you guys can do that. The first one, and the most easy, leave a thumbs up on it. It's always massively appreciated. Subscribe if you are new to the channel and share the video around if you do want to do that as well and you do enjoy the content. Also, comments in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you think of the Fulham game coming up this weekend, your predictions, your thoughts on anything I'm saying, whether you agree or disagree, and any constructive criticism and suggestions as well. And especially in this one, because we're trying out a new camera. We've actually got the GoPro set up. I usually just use this at the matches, but I'm trying it out to just a regular camera for this video. I'm not quite sure how it's going to turn out. Hopefully it'll be good, but again, let me know whether you prefer the old style or this one in the comment section down below. But yeah, we're going to crack on now and talk a little bit more about the Fulham game tomorrow. So Fulham at home, a newly promoted team into the Premier League. You'd expect it to be a simple 3 points, a simple win for City, but we all saw against Wolves that is not always the case. Of course, that Wolves game was away from home. We did have a bit of bad luck along the way as well. I'm thinking back to that handball goal that was allowed for Bolly. Still not quite got over that and let that go yet. And we also had a bit of misfortune as well ourselves, you know, hitting the post a couple of times. Could have easily come away with the win in that one. But Fulham and Wolves are not too dissimilar. Both two teams that have come up from the Championship and both two teams that have made some great additions. And Fulham, similarly to Wolves, have got a very nice squad, especially when you consider they're a team that's just come up. I mean, we're talking Andre Schürrle, proven quality player. Ryan Sessegnon, one of the brightest, if not the brightest, under-20 England player out there right now. You're looking at Mitrovic, who's in great form for club and country, always going to be a bit of a handful. And they've got dangerous players all over the park. So it's not a game that we should be taking lightly. And despite the fact you'd expect us to win, as I say, that's not always as straightforward as we'd like it to be. The good news is, from our point of view going into the game as well, is the fact that I don't believe we've got any injuries that have been picked up on international duty. Of course, Raheem Sterling didn't even go with the England squad in the end, pulled out with a back injury, but as far as I know, he's going to be fully fit and raring to go for the Fulham game. I'm guessing he's going to be starting. The likes of Sanè went with Germany. He's coming back absolutely fine. He actually had a kid while he was away, so congratulations to Leroy, his first child. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but yeah, he's had his first kid regardless. And yeah, everyone, as far as I know, is coming back fit and ready to go, which is fantastic. Of course, we've got a massive squad full of quality everywhere, and we've pretty much got the selection of everyone, apart from the injuries that were there before. Of course, Kevin De Bruyne being the major miss. And it's going to be interesting to see how we line up. We've been doing a bit of tinkering in games up to this point so far, but we are slowly starting to see a bit more of a settled 11. I think you're going to see a similar team to the one that got past Newcastle in the last home fixture. And that was another example of a game that should have been straightforward, but as always seems to be the case with City, wasn't the case, unfortunately. We either seem to scrape past teams at home or absolutely destroy them and blow them out of the water. And I think that all comes down to how quickly we're able to get that first goal. I think if we get that first goal nice and early, it forces the opposition team to have to come out and leaves a few more spaces in behind a lot of the time. But if we do go through the game and it takes a bit of time to break teams down, they get a bit of hope, they can get a bit more success on the counter, then, you know, there is certainly a concern there. But, you know, we went through this last season. I already mentioned in my review from the previous game. We went through this kind of last season where the first 5 games we ended up with the same amount of points. We're still playing nice football. There is nevertheless room for improvement, that's certain. But we need to keep faith with Guardiola, keep faith with the way that we're playing. But yeah, we've got full team to select from. I think I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but full team to select from. I would love so much for Sanè to start. I know that Guardiola's come out and said he's got his issues with him. I don't think he said in the end that it was his attitude necessarily, but I think that's the general consensus that that is the case. I'd love to see him start on the left-hand side. One of my favourite players at the club. And when you look at where we struggled against Newcastle, I know came away with the win, but a bit more pace and Sané's directness would have come in handy. And I think when you look at the success we had last season, two of our best performing players, two of our big key game changers were Sanè and De Bruyne. And right now, as I touched upon in the review from the last game, we're playing without either of them. De Bruyne through injury, of course, as we touched upon already in this video, and Sanè because of whatever Guardiola's got to get into at the moment with his attitude or whatever it may be. Maybe it was to do with the fact that he was having his kid. Maybe he just needs to get his head right. He'd had the disappointment of the Germany being left out the German squad for the cup. He's got a kid coming along that's just been born. There's obviously a lot that's been going on in Sané's life, and I'm hoping he can just put that all behind him now, focus on football, and get back into the starting 11 and do what we what we saw him do best last season, which was putting in incredible performances week in, week out, and saw him become the young player of the year. So hopefully Sanè starts again. I think he's starting to see a settled back line now. Of course, you've got Edison in goal. I've said it time and time again. I'd love to see Laporte and Stones being the partnership that we use this season, because I think that's the one for the future. But it seems to me like Company and one of those two seems to be the preference so far, whether that be Laporte or Stones. But Otamendi's not really seen any game time at all so far. Whether we'll see him getting in there this weekend, it remains to be seen. But personally, again, I'd like to see Stones and Laporte. I think you're going to end up seeing Stones. Stones and Company myself. But Mendy's going to be left back. That pretty much goes without question. Walker's going to be playing right back again. That's cemented in, you would think, at least anyway. You never know with Guardiola. Of course, maybe he'll give Danilo a go, someone that performed reasonably well for us last season when called upon. But I can only see Kyle Walker being in it right back. As far as midfielder and wingers go, again, love to see Sanè on the left-hand side. Whether we're going to see that just yet, I'm not quite sure. Of course, we don't know what's going on with that situation. I think you're going to see Sterling starting. Of course, Mahrez been pretty uninspiring, I think is the word so far in his performances. Not been bad by any stretch of the imagination even. And you've got to bear in mind as well that he's got to get used to the new system, the way that we play. It's very different to Leicester. Leicester are a team traditionally that played on the break, and that's where he flourished the most with Leicester in that Premier League winning season for them. Possession football is a way that Leicester have got a bit more in recent seasons, but the way that we play and Leicester play, obviously there's no real major comparisons. So it's something that he's got to get used to, and hopefully I think he will be successful in the future, but not been amazing so far. So I think you'll see Sterling on the right, hopefully Sanè on the left, but of course, could see Bernardo Silva playing there, could see Mahrez playing on the left-hand side, lots and lots of options. His preference in the middle at the moment seems to be Fernandinho at the base, as you'd expect, and then Gundogan and David Silva in the centre. I think you're probably going to see that again, and then Aguero up top on his own. But then again, as we touched upon in previous videos, you could see the Jesus-Aguero partnership and perhaps Gundogan dropping out there. So it all depends, I think, on the availability of certain players, how Pep's feeling on the day, and the opposition. I think when you consider that we're going to be seeing a lot of the ball and that Fulham haven't got the biggest threats in the world, you'd expect us to dominate the game, is what I mean by that. He might go with the two up top, which has been incredible in some games, like the game against Huddersfield, but it's also been a little bit dodgy in other games as well. So there's a lot of decision making to be done. Like I say, although I think the defence is slowly becoming a bit more settled in what Pep wants to do, the attack, particularly without Kevin De Bruyne in there, he's proven to be a bit of a headache, and there's been a lot of rotation going on. So going to be interesting to see what he does there. But another thing that I think he's going to have to bear in mind is the threat of Fulham. We've touched upon some of their key players, and I think the one thing that I've mentioned again in previous previews is that was a bit of an alliteration there, but yeah, it's the fact that have they got a major pace advantage that they could use on the counter-attack, which is where we've struggled in the past in previous seasons. So I don't think Fulham have got a ton of pace. They've certainly got some pace, but I don't think they've got a ton. I think Schürrle will start, and although he's not a slouch, he's not absolutely rapid, not when you're comparing him to the likes of Adama Traore, who caused us problems when he came off the bench. But certainly something to be wary of. Sessing on another player that has got a bit of pace in his locker as well, of course, but they're not electric when it comes to pace, if that makes sense. They're not slow, but they're not electric either. So I don't think you'll see too many adjustments made for Fulham in that regard. But I think as long as we stick to the game plan, providing we can get that nice early goal, it should be a comfortable game. But again, I said that before Newcastle, and that turned out to be very tight and very scrappy. So hopefully we can come away with the win. That is something that I do expect, of course. I'm going to go with a 3-0 prediction. Again, I'm hoping that it's going to be comfortable, but that's not necessarily going to be the case, and you can't look past Fulham's quality. They've got some great players. Seri is one that I've not even mentioned yet in the centre of the park. Scored an absolute worldie in his last game, and someone that's got a lot of talent. Was linked to Barcelona, I think, last season. Arsenal in the past as well, so a bit of a coup for Fulham to get hold of him. But some dangerous players, but You know, it's going to be Fulham's biggest test without doubt since they're coming from the Championship. They're going to be up for it, but I just think quality is going to shine through and we're going to have a bit too much for them. So hopefully that is the case. I'm going for a 3-0 win. Let me know your predictions in the comment section down below as well. Love to hear from you as always. And if you think there's anything that I've not touched upon that you want to shout out, again, put it in that comment section down below. But aside from the preview, there's not really been a massive amount going on. Of course, there's been an international break. David Silva's actually done an interview with Match of the Day, which I'm really looking forward to watching tonight. He's touched upon the fact that signing for City was the best decision of his career, which, you know, he's absolute legend at the club. And apparently he's touched upon, again, I've not seen this interview yet, but in the media they're saying that he could be leaving, well, will be leaving when he finishes out this contract. Forgive me, there's a little cut in the video there, guys. Phone just rang and I had to grab that really quickly. I think I was just talking about David Silva and how he's done an interview on BBC, which is going to be going on TV tonight at 10 o'clock on the Match of the Day show, I think it's called, or something. I've looked at a couple of things about that already. I'm looking forward to watching it, but essentially it's the really in-depth interview with Lineker about sort of what's gone on last season with his son, his future, where he talks about apparently he's going to be leaving City when his contract ends in 2020 and going to his hometown club, which is Las Palmas. Wants to bring up his newborn child there, which is, you know, no one's going to hold that against you if that's the case. Been an incredible servant for the club, and you will not find a City fan out there who will be saying a bad word about David Silva. An absolute legend, one of the greatest players to ever pull on the shirt, and it's going to be a sad, sad day when he goes, if that is the case. Whether he retires with us, whether he goes back to Las Palmas, whatever happens, it's going to be a sad, sad day. But yeah, like I said, nothing really much else to touch upon in the last week of international football. Everyone seems to be coming back fit and ready, which is the main thing, and I cannot wait to get the ball rolling in the Premier League once again and hopefully get a good run going, as it were. But that is going to end up the video, guys. As I mentioned at the start, if you do want to support the channel, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a big thumbs up on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will catch you all in the next video, which is going to be the matchday vlog of the Fulham game. So hopefully you're all looking forward to that. Your support on the matchday vlog of the Newcastle game is great, so thank you so much for that. Hopefully you'll enjoy the Fulham one as well. As I say, I will catch you all there. Enjoy the rest of your Friday nights and enjoy your weekend, guys. I'll speak to you all next time. Nidge out.